What's going on, everybody? You are listening to another episode of the Black Dad Chronicles. My name is Courtney McIntosh, your host. And we got a lot on my plate today, so we're gonna get right into it. First and foremost, before I get started, though, I just want to thank everybody for all the support I've been tendered throughout the entire time I've had this podcast. This is episode 24. And a lot of things happened this week. And really kind of, steered the direction of stuff I want to talk about. So it's three things major that happened this week. First, we have three things that happened that I want to talk about, that I really want to address. The first one, which is probably the most serious, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. That would be the tragedy that happened in Las Vegas. A guy shot and killed over 50 people while wounding over 500 people. Say it was one guy. I don't believe that for a second. Not trying to get my Alex Jones on or be conspiracy theorist, but I don't believe for 1 second that one guy was able to do all that, get all that hardware up into the hotel. I mean, he probably could do it, if he had a lot of bags, I don't even know if I haven't really been paying attention to the story just because I try not to focus on negativity and stuff in life. And that's a very bad situation. I'm not trying to, co-opt and corrupt it. So I'm just giving my quick take on it. And excuse me because my allergies are going crazy today, so I'm a little stuffy. So bear with me. So I just don't believe that a guy with no type of military training at all could let off all those rounds in that short amount of time and be by itself. I just don't. You know what I'm saying? That's some stuff that you see in movies. You know what I'm saying? Now, while I was at the gym this morning, I was seeing on Fox News, they were saying, now it's suspected that he had help, was looking to escape, yada, yada, yada. Look, man, I don't know what's going on in this world. I know this world can be an evil place, but there also is a lot of good in this world, but it's tough. Like right now, I find myself here as a Christian, a Bible believing Christian. It is tough for me to have hope during these times, with Twitter fingers and, all this racism starting to bubble up, you know what I'm saying? And it's just craziness coming from all sides. So it's tough for me to have hope in a better tomorrow when this is, while this is going on. But if you believe in the Bible, and I truly do, things are supposed to get worse before they get better. So once again, I just want to, just send my thoughts and prayers out to those affected by it. I have a cousin that lives in Las Vegas. My little sister lives in Las Vegas, and they're safe. I'm just my thoughts and prayers are I had to pray for everybody who was affected by that. So didn't want to start the show out on a rather somber note, but so let's get into what I really want to talk about. So. First, before we, so I'm a big hoops junkie. I love the NBA. I love college basketball, even though college basketball is just, college basketball is bad basketball, but you have to be a hoops junkie to really, really like college basketball. And I consider myself a hoops junkie. I was looking for streams last night to watch, the preseason games because my wife changed the cable package, and we no longer have NBA TV. And the Pistons game wasn't on TV last night, which I felt was rather stupid. But It is what it is. So the NBA has changed their All-Star game format. And I used to be a big proponent of the All-Star game. I love the All-Star game. And, growing up, the All-Star game used to be just, for the first three quarters, just a glorified exhibition game. I mean, it is a glorified exhibition game, but it would be more, freewheeling and dealing and stuff like that. But then the fourth quarter hit and, everybody locked in and they wanted to win the game. Well, the last 2 or 3 years, hasn't been that way. Last year, finally, I was like, man, and I usually I am a cook, so I work nights and I work weekends typically. So the last couple years, I've had to record the All-Star game and, just kind of watch it back. And last year, I was sitting down watching the All-Star game. I was like, man, this is a waste of my time. Like they don't care. This is trash. Because it was just like, everybody was just like, shooting from half court, trying to dunk. Russ was trying to score 50 points. Steph Curry was trying to yam out on everybody. But, it was just kind of, I don't know. It wasn't enjoyable. So the new format is, there will still be, the fans will still vote the starters in. But the highest vote getter from each conference. So what they're doing is they're abolishing the East and West Conference. So the two highest vote getters from each conference, the highest vote getters from each conference and the fan vote will be elected team captains. And then once the rest of the reserves, once the reserves are selected, then those two captains will have a pool of people to pick from. So I think that's going to make for some really interesting teams. Like last year, case in point, the team captains would have been LeBron James and Steph Curry. Would have been pretty interesting. I was I was reading yesterday. Could this be the last opportunity that the Banana Boat gang would have to, play with each other? But, hey, Dwayne Wade's probably not making an all-star team this year, and neither is Carmelo. But, it's gonna be interesting. And I think this change was, not a long time coming, but this is one change that was needed. The NFL with the Pro Bowl now does it this way. The NHL, which I'm not a hockey guy, but I do tune in the playoffs sometimes. But the last 2 years, I've watched the NHL All-Star Game just because they changed the format. It's 3-on-3 hockey. They pick team captains, and then the team captains can draft the guys they want. And it is so much fun. It is such an enjoyable viewing experience from a guy who's not a hockey guy. You know what I'm saying? That this was needed. Now baseball, I don't think they'll ever change because they don't necessarily need to, and their All-Star game actually determines which team, if it's a team from the NL or the AL, gets home field advantage. So their All-Star game actually means something. So, and home field advantage in the World Series, I mean. So their All-Star game actually means something. They also passed lottery reform for the NBA draft. So now the top three picks have the worst three teams have an equal shot at getting the number one pick, and now the lowest they could drop down to is 5, I believe. So I'm all for lottery reform too. I don't like tanking. I would have hated to be Philadelphia 76ers fan the last 3-4 years. But you know what? I kind of wish my Pistons, would have tanked a little bit to try to get a high draft pick instead of being stuck somewhere in the middle and, getting somebody who's not a game changer. So, hopefully this will kind of take out the tanking aspect. I do like what the solution that Pistons coach and team president Stan Van Gundy threw out. Abolish the draft. And let all the incoming guys be free agents, but you still have to work under the salary cap. Then you could see. First of all, that would probably make it a little hard for the better teams out, because the better teams are usually more capped out than anybody else, because you got superstars on your roster you got to pay. I think that'll be just fun to see who would sign where. And I think it would have, you would need to have it like maybe 3 to 4 days before the free agency period actually starts. And then it would give these guys like 4 days to choose where they want to go for 4 years, So, now, getting into the meat of the situation, what I really wanted to talk about, America's favorite dad is at it again. So LeVar Ball, who is probably the most famous father in America right now, father of Lonzo, LiAngelo, and LaMelo, LeVar Ball made some waves this week when he announced that he would be pulling the youngest son, LaMelo, out of high school. He's a junior in high school. Be pulling him out of high school to focus solely on basketball training, and he's going to homeschool him. People were outraged. Oh, what is he doing? He's ruining his kids' lives. Yada, 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 yada. But, I mean, the reason why I don't necessarily have a problem with it is because we see kids in other sports do this all the time, like tennis pros, figure skaters, some football players. They get homeschooled, but there are districts that allow, especially for team sports, like they get homeschooled, but there are districts that allow that if you like homeschool inside the district or something, you could like attend that. You could play sports at the high school or something like that. I think it shocked people, one, because people just don't like LeVar Ball because he's loud and brash and unapologetically himself. But it's never been done before in basketball. So I think that was kind of like maybe a shock to some people. But people in other sports do it all the time. Tim Tebow famously was, homeschooled. But, and I was like, at first when I heard the news, I'm like, okay, that's cool. Why not? But then it seems like there may be an ulterior motive for him doing it. Because the coach at Chino Hills last year resigned. Chino Hills is the school that all of our sons have been to, starting with Lonzo. The number one high school that that's the high school that they all attended. So last year, apparently, LeVar and the head coach didn't get along. The head coach resigned. So now the new coach came in, and one of the things he said was, all those 50 shots a game, that's not going to fly. So it seems like LeVar's ass was a little chapped by saying, by hearing the coach say, hey, man, well, we're not going to have one guy shooting 50 shots a game. And I think, while I don't have a problem with him, pulling LaMelo out of high school to homeschool him, what I do think, it could set an expectation in his youngest son, who, if you watch their reality show, they have a reality show on Facebook, Ball in the Family, and it's a really good show. It actually lets you see, their personalities and stuff, because, that was the thing when, LeVar Ball first started speaking out and people started getting wind of who he was, the kids are robots. They're scared of their dad. They're just basically puppets, and he controls them. And watching this show, you could see the kids' personalities and stuff. And one thing you notice with LaMelo is he's 15, but he's a really immature kid for 15. And I mean, we all were immature. Most of us were immature at 15, but LaMelo is a really immature kid. And the hope is that this doesn't set a precedent in his head that, I don't have to listen to coaching, if I don't want to, I can just leave and do this. I hope, and you guys know, I've long been a champion of LeVar Ball on my show. I mean, and people were saying, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. Hey, he trained his oldest son to be the number 2 pick in the NBA draft. So one for one, they're all high level, high school players, all of them, scholarship. LiAngelo will be a freshman at UCLA this year, and he is their lowest ranked recruit coming in, because most scouting services say have him ranked as a 3-star recruit, and the general consensus is he is the least talented of the 3. I haven't seen enough of him, playing basketball to say that, I'm just going by what the scouting services say. But, he's 1 for 1 so far. He got one son to the NBA. I had a conversation with my mom about it, and, she's like, I just have a problem with, people trying to live vicariously through their children and, this and that. And I'm like, well, I understand that, but, he had a goal in life. He wanted his kids to be NBA players. He's got one there, and if everything works out, he'll be 3 for 3. But that gets me to want to talk about how much control should we have over our kids' lives? How much control should we really have? Me personally, I feel like until my kids, so I should have, I'm not going to say I should have total control of my kids' life, but I think I should, you want to be hands-on with your kids. You want to be there to guide them, and to make sure they're going in the right direction. Me personally, I am more hands-on, where I don't want to control everything, but I just want to, kind of nudge my kids in a certain directions and see how they fit. Now, because I love sports, I've tried to push my kids, into playing sports. And my kids do play sports, they like sports, but they're not into sports like, you see people who who grow up and be professional athletes. All my kids like basketball. My bookends, they like soccer. Jasmine likes golf. She's the middle kid. And so I'm trying to just devote time to get them to find a game, find a sport, and stick with it, because anything to help pay for college will help. Academically, athletically, anything that'll help pay for college, me and my wife will take. But you also have to know your kids. Like, I know that I can't push my kids and drive them to be athletes, because at 13, 10, and 7, I already know that's not who they are. My kids are artsy. My kids will, if you give my kids, pencil and paper, they will sit and draw for hours. My kids are artists. They're more artsy than anything. My son likes being outside. They all like being outside. My son loves sports. He loves basketball. Now he's at the age where he's trying to try me. Like, he's like, hey, bet you can't beat me in a race. Bet you can't hoop better than me. And I'm like, man, please. So he's been angling for me like the last 2 weeks because we have like a basketball hoop, in our complex where we live. So he's been angling for me to go, hoop with him. And I'm like, well, son, I can't because it's concrete and my knees are bad, and hooping on concrete just makes everything worse, But it's like, that doesn't matter to him. He doesn't care. He's just been challenging me. And then when he was challenging me to a foot race, I'm like, dog, I'm not about to run in these shoes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to run in these shoes. These are my fresh shoes. He didn't want to accept that. He was baiting me. So I'm like, oh, go race your sisters outside. So, him and the girls went outside. They was, having a race and everything like that. Hey, man, if he can run faster than me, he can run faster than me. I'm not going to just, let him do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to just, give him the victory. He's going to have to earn it. So, we are, the Auburn Hills Community Center, has open gym on Monday nights, Friday nights. So tomorrow we're going to go to the gym, going to hoop. I haven't been on the court in like a year and a half, just because I got really heavy, my joints were bad, but now, you know what I'm saying? I done lost weight, I'm feeling pretty good. So why not go back out there and see what I can do? I know I can beat him because he thinks he's a better basketball player than he actually is. And now one thing that he didn't used to do is he wouldn't take coaching from me very well. Like, I'd tell him to work on this, and he'd get upset, you know what I'm saying? But my brother come out there and just have him in a layup line doing layup drills. All right, yeah, Uncle Duck, yeah, okay, what else you want me to do? And I'm like, are you serious? Like, come on. Like, I'm telling you to do the same things, and you get mad at me, but your uncle comes out here, tells you to do the same things I'm telling you to do. You all gung-ho about it. But, that's either here nor there. I'm going to give him his game tomorrow. Give him that work. Just because, look, man, I could hoop. I'm not as good as, I'm not as, good as I used to be, just because my skills have eroded because, I haven't been hooping. But, I'm going to give him that work tomorrow, I think. But yeah, how much control do we want to have over our kids' lives? So, I was talking to my boy Meech, and he's, because he just outright just does not like LeVar Ball at all. I feel like, I applaud the things that LeVar Ball is doing for his family. He's trying to build a brand, and they're the brand, but it's also their brand, you know what I'm saying? So, why not? Why not teach your kids to be independent and not have to depend on, if you can develop your own, why not? Why depend on somebody else? So, and I think that's what he's teaching his kids, and I applaud him for that. I'm trying to teach my kids that too. But the most famous probably sports helicopter parent is I can't remember, Todd Marinovich's dad. Basically what happened was he from the time that he was an infant, his dad was training him to be an NFL quarterback. Like, since he was a kid, what's his name? Marv Marinovich is his dad. And so pretty much, his dad, had him training to be a quarterback from the time he was an infant. And, in that case, that's a little extreme. And one of the things that Todd Marinovich said, one of the things that Todd Marinovich said was, while his dad was a great coach, but he was short in the fatherhood department, you know. I'm actually reading, I'm looking at an article right now in the New York Times, you know, called When Helicopter Parents Hover Even at Work, by Noam Scheiber. This is an article from June 21st of this year. And the top pitcher, LeVar Ball, Lonzo Ball, LiAngelo Ball. And, you know, and this was 2 days before the NBA draft. So, but, you know, we've seen it before, you know, Tiger Woods' dad, Jennifer Capriati's dad, really just, you know, they want their kids to be great at a sport, and they, you know, just drive it home. Me, I'm not built that way. You know, I am of the ilk that kids should be kids, and they should be able to be kids, you know, without the burden of trying to develop a, you know, train for a career at 6, 7, 8 years old. You know, kids should be kids. They should be allowed to play. Like, I feel like right now my kids get too much homework. You know, in middle school, I was not coming home with 2.5, 3 hours of homework a day. You know, my son and daughter, my oldest two, they come home and they have at least 2 hours of homework a day. Yeah, to me, that's too much because, you know, they're in school for 8, 9 hours a day. Then you have to come home. They want you to do, you know, 2 hours of homework a night plus read for 30 to 45 minutes. When is it time? When are they going to have time to be a kid? You know? But I talked about that before. So, yeah. Do you guys think, you know, LeVar Ball is being too extreme with taking LaMelo out of high school? Because here's the thing. If he's training him to be a pro basketball player, scouts will tell you that the high school scene really isn't where they, you know, go to scout these guys, the top guys at least. The high school scene isn't where they go to scout all these guys. They go to AAU tournaments and scout them because that's when the top guys are generally pitted against each other. So the days of, you know, like scouts and coaches being in a high school gym watching high school games, you know, it's pretty much not necessarily over, but there's less of a focus and an emphasis on that than it is scouting these AAU games. So, I mean, LaMelo's still going to play AAU ball. LeVar still has his AAU team, the big ballers. But, you know, we'll see what happens. Me personally, I don't think LeVar's gone too far, you know, yet at least. But, I mean, I do think he could be maybe creeping towards that direction. But we'll see. So all we could do is, you know, just pray for the kid, pray for the family. You know what I'm saying? And look, man, LeVar seems to know what he's doing. So I just hope he's not doing it just because he's upset with that a coach won't let his son shoot 50 times a game. So, but, you know, that's it for this week, guys. As always, you can find me on the Black Dad Chronicles on Facebook. Website is coming soon. I am working on a website. That's coming soon. Man, I've been kind of busy. So the website's coming soon. And now in the website, you'll be able to find all my blogs, all my podcasts, maybe some videos, blog posts. But for right now, go to www.thevesey.com. That's THEVESEY.com. Have great news, black culture. We do black culture the right way, the smart way. We're not promoting anything ratchet. We're not promoting anything that's bad for the culture or bad for our people. We're trying to stay positive, shine a positive light on certain things. So check us out on thevesey.com. You'll find other podcasts, But yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Black Dad Chronicles. You can follow me on Twitter at Mr. Courtney Mack. It's NBA season ramping up, so I'll be tweeting more and more. You can also go to the Black Dad Chronicles on Facebook. If you want to suggest a guest or suggest show topics or just, give me a thumbs up. Also, rate me on iTunes. I'm wherever you can find your podcast. Peace.